Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Tone, Chugs, and Harmony, the weekly podcast where we discuss all things rhythm guitar. And through our guests, we try to learn unique experiences, get their insight, and get their thoughts on what rhythm guitar means to them. Today, I am joined by my good buddy Nick Daggers from Celestial Wizard. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. I'm glad we're doing this. I know we've been planning for a while. I always love chatting shit with you, so I'm excited to talk guitar. One thing we haven't done much of, actually. So,
I know. Go figure. Of all the things, not
yeah,
the guitar. Yeah,
I'd rather talk about things like Magic the Gathering with Nick.
straight up.
And we talk
Yeah,
about that a lot. So, how you doing today, though, man?
I'm good. I'm good. As you can imagine, I'm busy all the time doing 8 million things. We're, you know, trying to figure out what to do with our downtime. Really,
Mm-hmm.
in between tours is kind of our uh, challenge and my challenge. Because of course, when you're on tour, you know what to do. You show up, you play the show. You do the tour thing. When you're not on tour, it's like, do I make content? Do I practice? Do we write more songs?
Right.
Obviously, writing is just a static part of it all. You're just always, even if you're not intending to, you chug down some riffs or not chug, but you jot down riffs, you play them out. I don't use Guitar Pro, so I'm always just sitting here with my DAW would be here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I have probably 400 gigs of like one or two riffs each that will never get used because at this point they're so low on the stack
Right. Some of them,
of files. But
some of them you forget about. I've definitely gone back. Like sometimes when I need a little bit of inspiration, like, all right, let's check out these riffs from 5 years ago. But you know what? Sometimes it works. Um,
sometimes it does, yeah.
I'm still sitting on one riff that I really like, and it's been a long time, and I still don't know what to do. And that's the thing is, like, not everything, man. It doesn't always just come. Like, I'm sitting on one riff I really, 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 really like. I have no idea what to do with it. Um,
Yep,
don't know where to
yep.
go with it. Don't know what to do with it. But I'm like, it's cool someday. But I've been saying someday for like 10 years now. Almost. It feels like. So.
Well, if it's any consolation, there's a riff that I wrote when I was a sophomore in high school. So 2012, 2013. That ended up becoming the main riff in Ice Realm off of Winds of the Cosmos, literally a decade later. So sometimes you just have to let it marinate, let it like sit in the cellar like a fine wine, and then you come back to it, you're like, oh yeah, this was cool.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh yeah. Um, the song Moonwatcher from my band Helium Prime. That's one of the situations where it worked out. I had a riff, didn't know what to do with it. I liked it. And then I had a song that needed like just one more part. And I was like, let me just slap this in real quick. And it was like, boom, perfect. The missing piece.
yeah,
So it's exciting when that happens for sure. Um, cool, man. So riffs, tour, and all that. Let's talk about your band and your role in the group and everything like that. So Celestial Wizard is your group. You guys are based out of Denver, but I'm gonna let you take it from here, man.
so I play guitar in a band called Celestial Wizard. We're relatively new. We've been around, I guess you could say technically since like late 2018, 2019, but obviously we didn't, when the world shut down, we had to not do anything for a little while either. So, um, but yeah, it's cool. It's like a power metal, death metal, and I don't even know if you'd call it a fantasy band. It's a strange blend. A lot of people are like, oh, it's like In Flames and Children of Bodom kind of, which is funny because prior to like a year ago, I didn't really listen to either of those bands.
Mm-hmm.
It was just kind of, making music with my friends. Some of them really like heavy music. Our vocalist is does aggressive vocals. I like the power metal side of things. So that we kind of just like took everything we liked and mashed it together. Um, we just put out this past July a new album, Regenesis. I don't have a copy here to hold up, but imagine that I do. Um, it was probably our best work so far. I'm really proud of it, and we have gotten a lot of good reception from it, and been able to tour a lot with that. Um, yeah, it's just It's a gas. It's fun. I love playing guitar. It's a very guitar driven band. The other guitarist we have right now, Major, is an incredible ripper and keeps me motivated so I don't look like a chump on stage. And that's awesome.
Nice.
So everybody in that band is really talented, and it forces me to also really push myself in a lot of categories. So
Oh yeah, that's awesome, man. And do you guys? So speaking of you and the other guitarist, do you guys switch off leads together, or is there a primary rhythm, primary lead player? How does that? How does the dynamic work between you two?
yeah, this band, with all the guitarists that we've had, I am a founding member, and then we've just had a handful of very talented members, kind of like uh, come in for a while and then go on to other things. It's always been very much a dual lead band, and by the same metric, the same measurement. It also is kind of like there's no one true lead player, so it's just like it is a very just dual guitar. We both play leads and solos. We both very much commit to the rhythm side of things. But yeah, there's no dedicated rhythm player. I think just because of the dynamic between members, I tend to become a little bit more of the lead player, just because I've been in the band longer. I think sometimes, when we gain a new member, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to step on anybody's toes," so I have to like push them into that. Like, please play some solos. Please rip it up. You are talented. I want to showcase that as well.
Right.
So,
Yeah, well,
um,
one of my favorite things is getting all these amazing rippers that are far better than me to fill in those spots that I know I myself can't do. And it adds a lot, and so that's great to have the dynamic. Have you found uh, one style over the other easier for you? Like, did lead playing come a little easier, or did rhythm? Like, which one have you found more challenging, or possibly neither?
it's interesting because as much as I consider myself like a lead player, I think there's just a lot of power in the rhythm guitar that I really like. Uh, one of my dudes that I'm really inspired by is James Hetfield, who's very much like just the world's strongest rhythm player. Like incredible, very tight, and just the power and presence you can get from just a good, you know, riff and just the delivery that you can get with a solid rhythm sometimes is more effective than a really strong lead. Like I'd almost wager if you took a song and you see it almost with a lot of modern metal these days, like there's not a lot of shred and a lot of lead. It's a lot of groove and a lot of chug and a lot of like I don't know. It's less virtuosic shred wise than it was in like the 80s and maybe early 90s, and now it's more of like the whole band comes together as like a rhythm unit, and it's very much like a vibe.
Mm-hmm.
So where was I going with that? I have found for me, I really, really enjoy rhythm stuff, especially because I also do some vocals. So to be able, it's hard to do like a really techie lead and also sing over it. But also, it just when I'm coming into a lead or especially a solo, I'm very focused on not fucking it up. Am I allowed to curse on that? I don't know if that fucks
Yes,
up
you're
your.
good. You're
Okay.
good.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck it up. So obviously you ham it up on stage, you make the paces, you do whatever. But I am like mentally very like dialed into like, do not blow this line. Like this is a very like I have to be super focused with it. The shapes are super weird, or it's just a very like fast and intricate, run. Whereas with rhythms, I can really like feel it and be locked in and like resonate with the crowd and move around a lot more. I really enjoy moving on stage. Running from one side to the other or like getting up on a riser or whatever. And when you're shredding it up, it's hard to do that. When you're playing a lead, you're just I don't know. It just feels more. I don't know if primal's the word, but I just feel very like energized and powerful when I'm just like slamming through some good rhythms, especially in a verse or a chorus or whatever.
Yeah.
So for
Um,
me, I love rhythm.
yeah, I 100% agree. And I think that's something I haven't talked about myself either. But like, a rhythm player cliche is like I could play leads if I wanted to, and some of it's true. Like I obviously have my limits. Like I'm not about to go play a Michael Romeo solo for you or anything. But with some of my bands, especially like of Romulus, I've played all the solos and leads on that because I wanted to challenge myself to do it since I've never really done it on other releases. But even when recording and playing, even the easier leads, I don't have as much fun as when
Right.
I play the rhythms. And you said it better than I would have said it, but every statement Nick just said is how I feel about performing rhythm. I mean, sometimes just hitting a strong power chord when it hits just right is more exciting for me than playing a lead, like you said, it's the power behind it. You can hit that chord and feel the punch, a good down pick, energetic riff, simple or not. Just again, I liked the words you used, primal. It was the perfect example. I'm right there with it.
Music at the end of the day is such like an emotional thing.
Hmm.
I think people, for the most part, obviously there's some dudes out there who don't. But like when I'm making music and when I'm playing music, it is a catharsis, right? And especially, if I've got a riff that I really enjoy playing, or like a chord progression or some piece of that like really feel, especially in the moments where like I really need to feel that emotion that I kind of captured the first time I wrote it. Like it's such an important thing. It's such a, like you said, powerful or primal, or I don't know. There's just something about it. Just you really sink your teeth into it and you feel a certain type of way, especially with a strong rhythm.
Absolutely. Was there a player? Now you mentioned James Hetfield, but was there a player that really made you sort of change how you thought about rhythm guitar? The answer could still be James Hetfield, but like I'm talking about a moment where you realize, like, oh shit, like this is actually very important and very crucial to the foundation of the song, the performance, everything.
Yeah, I mean, it feels the easiest answer because I'm such a Metallica fanboy. I remember back when I was in middle school, probably, I was very into AC/DC.
Mm.
And of course, like, Angus Young is the fucking man in AC/DC, and he's, the poster child, and like, he's the face of the band, basically. But like, I was playing with some friends at the time, and like, you could call it a punk band. It wasn't really. It was just like, a couple 11 to 13-year olds, and we all played guitar. There was like three or four guitarists in this band that we had. We didn't do anything with it. But one of the dudes was like, yeah, but like Malcolm Young is kind of like the backbone of this entire thing. Like everything that they're doing kind of falls apart if he's not holding it down on the back end. And the way that he plays and the way that it kind of like syncopates with the drums is actually way more technical than it sounds. He's just really good at doing it.
Hmm.
And I did. I sat down and I watched some videos of him playing, just them playing live, but focused on Malcolm. And I was like, oh shit, that actually is really cool the way he's doing that.
It's so
And
easy
I think
to go ahead, finish your thought.
no,
Yeah.
no, no. That's. I was just circling back on the same thing I
Oh,
said. So please go ahead.
I was gonna say it's so easy to kind of forget about Malcolm too, because right, not only is Angus sort of the poster child, but if you notice with like AC/DC performances, man, the only two dudes moving around is Angus and Brian. Like
Right.
Malcolm and the bass player just stay back by the drums, which I always was like, I guess if they're happy with that, but I'm like you, I like to move around. I couldn't live with that myself. But
Yeah.
so it's easy to forget. I mean, they almost become a stage prop, right? And so, it's like that is like the perfect example of actually something I want to talk about later, but it's the perfect example of how easily forgotten the rhythm is and overshadowed by lead playing. And again, this isn't shitting on lead players because lead is just it's all important. It all works
Yeah.
together as a living entity, if you will. But it's so this is like ACDC, Angus and Malcolm is the great example of how easily, oh well, Angus is so good. It's like, yeah, but like you said, that rhythm section falls apart. It's not the foundation's gone, you know.
Right.
So let's actually, this is a great accidental segue. So perfect. Good job, Nick. He knows what he's doing. So those listening, we're trying something new today. Even though this will be the second episode you hear this week, this is the first one I'm recording, so the first time trying it. We're going to start having topics for the podcast to sort of help streamline the conversations and stuff. So today's topic is probably the simplest one to talk about, and maybe because of what this podcast is about, the first one. So even though it's the second you're hearing, it's the first one we're talking about. But what makes a great rhythm guitarist? So we're gonna kind of brainstorm that together and get Nick's thoughts on what makes a great rhythm player. And again, it was great because you kind of already talked about a little bit of it with Malcolm, right? But just to start, I'd love your general thoughts on what you think makes a great rhythm guitarist.
I want to lead this off by saying so many people view roles in the band like if you are not the vocalist or the lead guitar player, you're kind of just like auxiliary and not very important. And basically just like you're just filling the rest of what's left, right? But my perspective on rhythm and even bass, because so many people are like, ah, fuck bass players. The band can't move forward without a strong rhythm and a strong like you are the skeleton and almost the muscular structure of the band and the songs from a musical sense, right? Like the leads and the solos are kind of like you're dressing up the song, if you will. But the core of it is the rhythm playing. So I mean, forgive me if I've already strayed away from the point, but
No, you're good.
I mean the value of a rhythm player, it can't be overstated. I mean, there's just so many pieces of it. Like when you go see a band and whether it's two guitars, one guitar, whatever, if whoever is playing the rhythm guitar cannot play it properly, hold it down, is fucking some stuff up, or he's out of time with the drummer or something, like the whole thing sounds so bad. You fuck up a lead or two or a solo, the song's pretty salvageable. So when, especially in Celestial Wizard, like because we don't have a true, like, you are the rhythm guitarist, you just need to be holding it down. Because we kind of, both of us fill both roles just depending on the parts of the song, especially like if there's like two parts of the rhythm that kind of fit together sonically, like one's in a higher register, one's in a lower register, and they kind of like just fill out the sound a little more. You have to be locked in, and it's very important to play your rhythms well more than anything else. That's the beat of the song. It is the most critical piece of the puzzle. When you're learning a song, at any point in your life, I was going to say as a kid, but I learn stuff now. I start with the rhythms. Like I don't go, I'm like, I'm going to learn the solo first. And then what? Like when you play a song, you play the song, and a lot of that is, the actual, the rhythms are the actual song. Leads are just putting on a fancy hat, basically.
Right.
Not in every case, but leads, rhythm playing is the most important role in a band. And it sucks that rhythm players don't get the spotlight that lead players do, because leads are flashy, it's the way songs are geared are meant to shine a spotlight on it. Like a solo, it's you're soloing this one person and you're letting them have the spotlight. Like you don't get that with rhythm stuff. Maybe in a breakdown or like an interlude or something, but that's only for a couple seconds.
Right.
But it's just one of those like unsung heroes. Like the nose is the unsung hero of the face. Like you don't think about it at all. If you didn't have a nose, you'd look fucking weird.
Yeah. And
Like
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
I was gonna say most rhythm guitar players too. Like you know what you signed up for, and you're okay with it. But I also want to mention two things to piggyback off this. But something we haven't discussed in the podcast yet too is like we focus on rhythm guitar, but it's important to know that like when we're talking about that, it's someone who's a fantastic lead player can also be a fantastic rhythm player. So we're just talking about the performance of rhythm guitar, right? So it's like because not every guitarist has a designated rhythm player. In fact, it's probably less common for that to happen, right? But there's think of guys like Eddie Van Halen. He's
Right.
known for his lead playing. Not often do you hear people praise his rhythm playing, but God, can that dude play some fucking nasty rhythm guitar. And
Big time.
when you go to learn like Van Halen riffs, it's like, oh, it doesn't sound too bad. And then like you're breaking it down, you're like, oh, damn, this is tasty. And it's kind of
Yeah.
difficult. So that's what we're kind of talking about. Like this unsung heroes, even in the player itself, he's known for like the tapping. He's known for Eruption, the guitar solo song, and all this. But it's like, when's the last time there's an article of like, man, Eddie Van Halen and his tasty shreds, or sorry, his tasty rhythms.
Right. Right.
So that's sort of, I just wanted to bring that up real quick for people listening. Is like, even though I bring on players who do leads and stuff, it's like you do both, right? And you could do both well. But it's shining that light on the unsung hero of the rhythm guitar and its importance. And you mentioned too, like, right, the solo that gives that person the moment to shine, and maybe in a breakdown and stuff. And one thing I actually love, and I know I mentioned this band a lot, but by now, if you haven't figured it out, like, I was inspired by it when I was younger. But one thing I always loved about Iced Earth is he was really good at writing sections that almost felt like a rhythm guitar player lead section, because it was just such a sick fucking riff that was just rhythm guitar. Wolf, the song Wolf comes to mind. There's not even a guitar solo in that song, but you didn't fucking need it. But there's just this sick riff it goes into. Or Angel's Holocaust is a great one where like all the music dies out and he's just playing this really intricate gallop pattern, and it's just like fuck. Metallica does it, right? I guess like a rhythm guitar player section would be when you just get riffy for a while,
Yeah.
And I actually, to name drop another of Romulus song, our recent song Balance of Fear, there was this section that like I knew, because I've worked with Heather long enough that I knew she would write vocals over it. So I had to specifically tell her, like, don't write vocals over this riff. I want this riff to be like it goes 2 times and then repeats and then vocals come in. But I was like, the first 2 times, let this riff fucking riff,
Right. Absolutely.
And to me, that was like my rhythm guitar solo. So,
hot take off of what you said just before we move away from it. I would almost posture that a good rhythm guitar player who can kind of play leads is way more valuable than a really like hotshot shredder lead player that can't play rhythms at all.
I agree.
100%.
I was actually going to start getting to that, so I'm glad you brought it up, so I'm not the first. Also, everyone, if Nick sounds different, we just found out that his mic has not been on this whole time.
My bad, guys.
So
we're hitting our stride in the second. The second lap. It sounds better. We're crispy.
Yep.
My bad.
So let's use this hot take to revisit the topic of today, because I think what happened is we accidentally talked about what we love about rhythm guitar, but we haven't talked about what makes a great rhythm guitarist. But a lot of things, or we haven't got into it yet, but the hot take is a great way to circle back to it, because I have met many players who it's important for me to start this with saying I'm the first person to never claim I'm better than anybody. In fact, if you ever work with me, you'll know I'm probably the most insecure player out there. Even after all this time, like, I just assume I fucked something up. However, I've gotten a little more confident in things I can do and what to listen for. So I have met many people who sort of hype themselves up to be very sorely like, oh, no, that's not how you do that. And the thing is I don't think it's like a cocky thing, but I think it's, again, a misunderstanding of what really is important and makes rhythm guitar great. I was jamming with someone recently just for fun. We were just jamming. And they were just like, oh, I know this song and I know that song and I know this song. And we're jamming and they're playing and I'm sitting there like, man, they're playing every song wrong. And like, whatever, it's fine because we were jamming, we were having fun. It wasn't anything serious. But it was just that reminder to me of like the technique was bad, it was sloppy, inconsistencies. And these are all important things because the thing is like, it did sound like the riffs, you know?
Right.
Like,
it was like close.
Yeah, I could tell they were playing Iron Maiden, you know? So to them, that's probably what they hear, and they're like, I'm playing it right. And they're not understanding the fine details they're missing, you know? The timing, consistency, groove, dynamics, like all that is so important, you know? And without it, it's like, yeah, you're playing the riff, but it's like, to a casual listener, it's like, okay, yeah, you're playing it, but then you go hear Iron Maiden play it, and you're like, well, why does it sound just better? And it's all those little details,
Nuance.
Exactly. And something we talk about a lot here. We'll probably talk about it every episode because it's just a common thing. But the timing, the locking in, that is probably the most important thing for a rhythm player. Because again, like you said, you flub a lead here and there. It's cool, man. And in fact, most people don't care. I don't fucking care, dude. If I saw Michael Romeo and he missed one fucking note, well, I'd probably think the world's ending because it's Michael Romeo. But realistically, it's like you don't care. But if I'm watching a band and the rhythm is all over the place and it's flubby and it's just like, oh man, I'm not into this. And if I remember, I want to talk about another hot take that's going to get so many people mad at me, but I think this is the perfect one for it. It's going to be a super hot take, but it's something I've been seeing in my algorithms on social media lately that I feel we need to discuss on the podcast. But before we get into that, go ahead and finish your hot take thought and just, again, what makes rhythm guitar great, man? Like things, and maybe another way to ask it is, what is important to you if you had someone come into your band? What would things you'd be looking for? Like the check mark for yourself of like, they need at least to be able to do this.
Totally. And I can speak with a fresh perspective because when Will Perkins ended up parting ways, he moved on to Viper Witch, cool band. We had to fill his spot. And we did, for the first time, prior to Will, we just didn't really audition anybody. We kind of just like found, either friends in the scene or like dudes that we thought were really cool and reached out to them. We're like, hey, we have this project. Would you be interested in, doing some work with us or maybe even joining the project? And pretty much every single time people have been like, hell yeah, that's cool. But this time we were like, let's audition people. Now that we have some, other people know us the tiniest bit, maybe there will be people who come out from the woodworks that we don't know that are actually really cool. So we auditioned a bunch of people, and it was interesting to see just the wide variety of like, with where you were saying of like, they're playing the song mostly. Like I can recognize it as like, this is what the song would be, whether it's Iron Maiden or, stuff that we wrote, whatever material they brought prepared. Some people would crush it. Other people would basically, they learned it by ear and they like kind of had it. But you could tell like they're not really playing it right. They're getting all of the key points mostly so that it's recognizable, right? It's the silhouette of the song, but you're not getting the finer detail. You're not getting the nuance. And for some of those auditions, it felt like recital more than a performance is maybe the way I would say it. Like, when you go see, do you have siblings? I don't actually know.
I have one sister. Yeah. But she's older.
Fair enough. In my, maybe you see it like a talent show or whatever. At some point in your life, you will see children try to play music, whether you're in, elementary school and it's like a school choir or like a talent show or whatever. And you can tell like they know the piece, but they're really just focused on like trying to make sure that they're playing it enough. And then there's dudes that would come into these auditions and you could tell that they knew it and they felt it and they could perform it rather than just regurgitate it. And those were the people that we were really stoked on. And all of this stuff, like, we didn't ask anybody to learn any leads or any solos. It was just like the meat of the song. Not even sometimes full songs. Like, can you play this section because this is kind of a headache section, but it's a song we play live. Like, if you can't hang with this, then this isn't a good fit. And it was interesting, like, you know, these are rhythms. These are the backbones of these songs. There are leads that go over these pieces, but it was the rhythms that were more important to us. Because like you said, you see a band live, and if the rhythm's not tight, you're like, what is happening? And I think that's why rhythm is so great, is it kind of defines the song, gives context to what you're doing. It shapes the piece. It moves it forward. It's the most critical guitar part in a song is the rhythm, even underneath the solo. Like, I've heard so many times, like, live shows or live recordings, especially from like one guitar bands, like Ozzy for a while when it was just Zach. You know, obviously the bass was pretty thunderous in that project, but like the record versus the live performance, like the rhythms behind those solos are so strong and so definitive that to not have them live and just the shred and then the bass underneath, it felt so empty.
Camelot, just real quick, Camelot's a good example of that. You know, when they were super riffy. But I listened to a live Camelot album that came out like years ago now when Roy was still in the band. And same thing, dude, is because they're a one guitarist band. So listening to the live versions, it sounds so empty when these monstrous riffs are happening behind the solo. And then when that's just gone and it's just the lead, or even something simple like if anyone knows Center of the Universe by Camelot, it's one of their intro tracks, I think, to Epica. But even that just starts some power chords and a power metal lead, like, you know, copy paste but even with just those chords missing, the punch is gone, you know? So I think that's what you were trying to say. But just
100%.
Just giving another example of that, like, yeah. But then it's interesting because to bring Symphony X back up, Symphony X is a one guitarist band. And for some reason, that punch is not gone with those guys, but they're on a whole other level. So, you know, but I was just thinking about that. Like, I've seen Symphony X live a lot, and I feel like it doesn't lose the thunder when Romeo's going into a solo. Maybe I'm just so captivated by Romeo that I'm biased. I don't know. But anyways, continue.
Yeah, and it is true that it is not every band. There are bands that really do make it work. Remind me, does Symphony X, do they have a keyboard player?
They do.
Live? That helps a lot.
That's probably probably filling in the space, yeah.
Yes, it's that mid-range, just like tonal spectrum. When I saw Dream Theater live, of course, it's just John Petrucci playing guitar, but to also have like the bass and the synths behind some of these leads or some of these more open verses where it's not a chord progression, it's more of a lead riff. Those keys really fill it out. So I would say, like, you can do a one guitar project. I'm not saying that every band has to be two guitars, but you have to know what you're getting into, and you have to compensate to a degree because rhythm guitars are so important. If you're not going to have a rhythm guitar, you better know how to make it sound good without one. Mm-hmm. Also, whenever I sit down to practice guitar, I don't start with a whole bunch of lead work or solos or scales. I'm just chugging out a bunch of riffs and chord progressions and shapes that are really just, they feel good and they're fun to play. Like, that's how I warm up and get my hands moving a little bit, is just like my favorite one, especially like in sound checks. I play Blitzkrieg. I think Diamond Head did it originally. I know the version that was like bonus Metallica off of Ride the Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
But like that strumming pattern and that like progression moves all over the neck, and it just feels good and it's fun to play. Right. So for me, like my first inclination is to play some rhythm stuff. I don't sit down and go straight to shred. I never do. That's not like I'm not a noodler like that most of the time. I love, but I'm getting away from myself. The point being, rhythm guitar is critical, and you can tell when bands don't have good rhythm or don't have rhythms at all, and it's just one dude who's like, he's a shredder, he's really good, he's incredible to watch when he's ripping around. But then when it comes to the rhythms and the rest of the song, like unless this is an instrumental band and it is just, bass, drums, guitar, and everybody is just a fucking prodigy, and they're just like, trading licks and stuff, that's a different genre entirely. But for the genres that I play in and that I enjoy listening to, like, you do have to have the rhythm section is way more critical than anything, fancy that you're shredding on top of it.
We talked a little bit about this, but I want you actually to give your thoughts. Like, why do we think, and I'm sure it's an obvious answer, but why do we think lead guitar gets far more attention, especially when, again, the lead is such a smaller role? But it's like when guitarists look at that, younger guitarists especially, that's the part they walk away with, like, oh my god.
Yeah. I think there's maybe three pieces to it. One, it's almost the attitude of like, we've always done it this way, so we continue to do it this way, of like, as far back as it goes when they first started having solos and songs. Because if you go back far enough, there aren't. Some of these like Elvis songs, or I don't fucking know, like stuff that's so far back. It's just the song. It's, intro if it's got one, but it's like verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, reprise. The song's done. And then at a certain point, there was like a shift in, I don't know if it was just attitude or perspective, but something came into being where they were like, what if, we do the verse and the chorus a couple times, and then we have like a really cool guitar part. And that kind of shaped into what solos have become. And now, and I mean, I'm guilty of it in my own songwriting. Tim, our drummer, sent a song a couple weeks ago that was just like the bones of it. And my first thought is, where does the solo go? So it's definitely, I think a lot of people are just like, they're geared to like, songs have guitar solos now. And, I love playing a guitar solo. I don't think that I have written one song that doesn't have one. So maybe, those in glass houses, right?
Right.
But I think we've always kind of, especially like the last 3 generations of guitar players, have always just like, cool, like lead guitar is primary guitar, rhythm is a backseat. And I think the other half of that too is it's very marketable, right? Like someone who can do a thing that's not easy for everyone to do. Like, back in the day, Eddie Van Halen or Paul Gilbert or any of these dudes who are incredibly talented musicians and are doing these runs and these licks and playing these shapes that not everybody can play, even if they're a strong intermediate guitar player. Like they can hang in most crowds. Like these are people who are cut above. Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, these prodigious guitar players. And from there, I think guitar companies were like, oh, these guys really stand out because of the way they play. We're going to, promote them, push this kind of like shredder style thing because it helps us sell products. So I think also another reason why lead guitarists are so valued in the media or perception over rhythm guitarists is it's easier to market. Everybody can, the rhythms kind of sit in the background while you have this stuff that like literally gets a spotlight shown on it. You go to a show, they play a solo, they get up on the ego riser or there's a spotlight or whatever, So not only is it's cool and it's fun and it makes you feel good when you're the one shredding, you're getting all the attention, you know. It is cool from one musician to another to see a dude play something really cool. And then companies can market the hell out of that. You know, Jackson, whoever, these guitar companies are like, cool, do you want to shred and be as cool as this guy and be in the spotlight and do all these things? Buy our guitars because that's who they play, you know. And then now we've kind of come into like these guitarists are now starting their own brands. Tosin Abasi or whoever. He's not necessarily like, you know, the archetypal wind blowing in your hair shredder, like, but you got, you know, Slash or these dudes who are like already larger than life personalities, and they also play these things that stand out on top of the rhythms. From a songwriting perspective, they're not critical, but from a performance perspective and for the fan, that's just something that's like, wow, that's so cool. That resonated with me. And sometimes you do get leads or solos or some sort of like soaring guitar part that does hit you, you know, emotionally, or you feel it a certain way.
100%.
You know, and those pieces are valuable. They add a lot to it, you know, like what is that song by Nevermore? Believe in Nothing, something nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. The solo in that, when it comes in, it just really lands a certain way. But also it lands a certain way because of the chords underneath it give it a lot of context, and they work together in, I mean, no pun intended, in harmony with each other to create this really cool moment in the song, right? The rhythm is what drove that. The solo over it is kind of like, it's maybe, think of it this way. The rhythm is the ground beef in a taco, and the lead is the seasoning. You can't just have a taco with only the seasoning and no beef. You could have a taco with unseasoned ground beef. One part is definitely more critical than the other. But when you have them together, it's fantastic. It's the best of both worlds.
Yep.
But to come back to what you were saying, I think that's why maybe lead guitar is so prevalent and so important to young guitar players who are learning, are people who are like, I just want to establish myself. The best way to do that is to be a shredder. Like, we've kind of just been conditioned as musicians, like, that's the way to go. You know, you've got all these, and especially with the advent of like YouTube and social media, like, you know,
it's bigger than ever now. Yeah, because you got to get them in 10 seconds. Like,
you got to get them in 10
seconds. What's the best way to do that? Yeah,
exactly. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of dudes too that are like, they have like a cool riff and that grabs you, but for the most part, it's like, you know, these shredders, especially now when it's just like you're just scrolling past, you got to get them in 10 seconds. Like, you got to have a crazy lick straight off the bat, straight out the gate. And that lends itself to the shredder too. So it's just one of those, like, what grabs people the most and what is the most marketable for these companies who are endorsing these artists, and just in general, the whole, it's always been this way, so that's how we will continue to do it. You know, now I don't know how many generations in I would consider myself to be from like the first like shredder soloer, but I mean, we're 6 generations deep at least. I mean, from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, we're in the 2020s already. Like, for the last 50 years, you know, with Ozzy and Priest back in the 70s, there's been guitar solos. So now we're just like, cool. Guitar solos are just a non-negotiable piece of most of these songs. And so we do. And then it just perpetuates the cycle of like, solos and lead players are more valuable because you can't have the song without it, which is not true. It's just the thought process behind so many of these perspectives, you know.
That was probably the best answer anyone could have given, and I didn't think by asking you that question we would be breaking down the walls of the music industry. But fucking, let's give some claps to Nick for that one. That was good, dude. That was great. That was a fantastic answer. Like, I would almost believe that was prepared, but I know it wasn't because he didn't know I was going to ask him that.
I'm coming in blind.
Yeah, dude. Good job, man. Yeah, great. I literally have nothing I can add. Like, you said it all, dude. And honestly, it was stuff I never really thought about. I didn't think about the marketing side of it and all that. And like, you're so right, man. And, you know, we are all just especially these days, man, we're conditioned by what we see and what we're told. So that's what you see, that's what you're told. And also something else I want to bring up too, just a sideline that kind of like off something Nick said, but just to go on record here, like, we love lead guitar around here too. Okay, we love
Straight
it.
up.
Like,
Straight up.
I mean, I've mentioned Michael Romeo a lot, and I swear there's others I like. He's just one of my favorites. But the point is it's a rhythm podcast, so we're gonna highlight what is the underdog, if you will. So when it feels like we're bashing leads, it's that's not the case. It's just shining the light on like why rhythm's important, but both are fantastic. Both are great. Like you said, like there's many solos I've heard or lead passages that make you feel an emotional connection. I mean, again, probably the band I could think of most that does that for me is Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Like probably more than their riffs. It's the lead playing of Maiden that's the bread and butter, dude. Like, I mean, a song I love, it's a quote newer song, not really anymore, but it came out in the 2000s. But dude, Dance of Death, there's dude, after the big solo section, it comes into that 3-piece harmony. My God, it's fucking magical. So yeah, lead's great, but there's rhythm. There's rhythm and melody behind that too, though. So it all works. Again, it all works together. But yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick aside on that. It's almost an argument for how important rhythm is. I know that like there's been a lot of times where they didn't have 3 guitar players, but in the times that they do, especially live, you can have that sweet harmonized lead and still have a rhythm behind it that keeps the song grounded, and it sounds so much better that way than like 2 leads no rhythm. I'd rather have 1 lead 1 rhythm than 2 leads no rhythm.
Yeah,
most times.
Absolutely.
Most times. So.
Okay, this is a great way to segue back to my hot take, because I was gonna mention Iron Maiden with this. I was gonna mention not the 3 guitarists, but it's the great example of it. So you mentioned earlier with your hot take of having a stronger, I think what was it? Having a stronger rhythm player who's like okay at leads over a great lead. Yeah. So here's my hot take, man. Metallica boys need to realize that Kirk needs to fucking step his shit up. So
big time.
Here's what's been circulating in my algorithms the last few days is a bunch of videos of Kirk just fucking shit up live.
Yes.
And not just one situation. And I've seen this for a while now, many times. And everyone's like, oh, he's old. He's just human. He's just playing. It happens. It's like, yeah, it happens, but no, stop. Like, he's in the biggest fucking metal band in the world. You're paying thousands of dollars to go to this show. He can play his goddamn easy solo that he's played his entire fucking life, and not just like, oh, I missed a note, atrociously fuck it up.
It's not. And part of me wondered too, like maybe his IEMs were like fucked up. But some of those videos, he's just fucking it up. He's not even like off time or there's like a latency or something. Yep. He's just blowing it.
And so people use the, he's older, blah, blah, blah. But it's like Iron Maiden. Those dudes are older than Metallica. There's fucking 3 of them and they're killing it,
Yep.
There's veteran thrashers, Exodus, Testament, who sound better than ever. So I'm sorry, there's no excuse you can give me for the kind of laziness that we're seeing from Kirk these days. Listen to his writing, but here's score 1 for rhythm guitar. Why does Metallica still sound decent live even though Kirk keeps fucking it up? Because James Hetfield's still holding it the fuck down.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, if he was fucking up too, because even Lars is fucking up, but James is like, all right, I'll carry this shit. Him and Robert.
Yep. They really are, man. They really are carrying that whole.
And we love Metallica here, and I will defend younger Lars. Like, dude, you watch the live shit videos. Lars was on fire, man. So like, this isn't a fuck Lars thing. This is they got way too comfortable, and it's starting.
That's exactly
it's
what
starting
it is. I was
to
about
show.
to say, They're just too comfortable.
Yeah.
They know they're gonna sell out every time.
Yep.
They're not worried about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, my hot take is Kirk needs to please stop being lazy because it's whatever, dude. You don't need to, man. I don't know. Well, I guess he doesn't need to not be either, right? So
But there's an integrity to it of like,
yeah,
because
at the end of the day, he's still in Metallica, and I'm bitching about him on a podcast. But it's just something I wanted to bring up because I've been seeing it lately, and it's more just the comments I've seen defending him, where it's like, no, there's nothing here to defend, man. If it was like one, oops, okay, but the fact that it's consistent, and it's not even on like one of his hard. It's on things that you shouldn't be messing. It's on things that I could fucking do, and. Remember, I when I'm in a room of guitarists, I automatically assume I'm the worst guitarist. So, point is, he shouldn't be fucking it up. So get mad.
And also, like,
Yeah.
Kirk is a very capable guitar player. It's not like he's just bad and he's doing his best. Like, we know that he can play these things really well, and he has done for the last 40-something years. Just all of a sudden, is he not practicing?
Yeah.
Like, he's getting called out for being lazy because we've seen him do it really well.
Yeah.
We know he can do it. He's just not doing it anymore.
Exactly. So to bring Maiden back up, right? They're older than Metallica, and those boys are still on fire. Those three guitar players, they're still playing together just perfectly. I mean, again, to showcase the importance of rhythm guitar, a lot of the times they're playing the same thing because the song just has the riff while the vocals are going on. So it's hard enough with two guitarists to lock the fuck in. So you got three that need to like lock in so it doesn't sound like this jump. Because the thing is like they could all three be playing the riff exactly right. But if one's ahead, one's behind, and now there's three of you, that's just going to sound like a mess. So
yeah, super washy and very unclear.
Like we've all been there when we're recording and like you might have played both parts clean, but they're not in time to each other. And like especially with like a gallop riff or something, you hear the wibbly wobbly, So yeah, so I'm sorry, but you can't use age as an excuse with me when there's so many of these guys. And again, the Thrashers and Anthrax just put out a new single that fucking crushed, dude. It sounded great.
I'm stoked for. I don't want to call it a comeback because they've been here for years. But like the new stuff feels very reminiscent of like spreading the disease era Anthrax, and that's exciting for me.
Hell yeah.
So, I just wanted to shout out Anthrax.
Hell yeah. But to wrap this up before we get into the last part of this, I love Metallica. I got no hate for Kirk, man, but it's just I guess it's important again as we're here trying to do our best to educate and hopefully help someone along the way. Just have those standards for yourself of like just stay strong, man, and like if you get comfortable, he's a good example of what happens once you get comfortable. He no longer has anything to prove, and it's showing. That being said, though, still love them, dude. I will always love Metallica. And here's the thing. After saying all that, I'll still defend Kirk that if that's what he wants to do, fuck it, man. He's Kirk from Metallica, so like...
Right. At this point, like you said, they don't have anything to prove. They're just kind of... They've been doing their victory laps for a long-ass time now.
Yep. All right, we're going to get into our lightning round, Nick, before we get you out of here. So this is just asking you a couple random questions. Don't think too hard about them, and just give... kind of your first answer. All right, so most underrated rhythm guitarist in your opinion?
Underrated rhythm guitarist.
Yep.
Bob Katsianis formerly of Firewind. He's not in the band anymore. But when it was the two of them and he was playing keys and picking up rhythm guitar duties, they sounded incredible.
Dude, that guy. I don't hear anyone talk about that guy. I know this is supposed to be lightning round,
so talented,
but it's my podcast. So there's that video of God. What is that? What is that instrumental Firewind song like? Through the Fire and the Fury or something? No, that's Through the.
Yep.
Is that what it's called?
Yep. Fire and the Fury.
Fire and the Fury, not Through. Cause have you seen the live performance of that?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
When he's doing whatever that 2000
Yeah.
3 DVD or something like that.
I was more impressed with him than Gus. I was like, who is this guy? Because he starts shredding both, you know? And,
Yes.
I'm sure you know Gabriel Guardian from Immortal Guardian and
yes.
now Power Glove.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
I didn't know Gabe yet. So this was my first kind of time seeing someone do the guitar keyboard duel.
And yeah.
You know, and I was like, whoa. And then, of course, I met Gabe, and I was like, that's fucking sick. But you don't see many dudes do it. Like him and Gabe.
No.
I'm sure there's others, but those are the only two that come to mind. Anyways, I'm gonna go with you on that one. Just that dude's great. So I had to bring that up because I never get a chance to talk about that. But that performance is like one of my favorite performances because I was just like, whoa,
It's
this guy's
so
insane.
good.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. One album every rhythm guitarist should study.
Ooh, that is a good one. And I know that we've really been in on the Metallica situation. I think, and God, you could make an argument for like anything and Justice for All and back, but for me, and Justice for All for rhythms, just because not only are the riffs kind of interesting shapes, but the strumming patterns are weird and sometimes the time signatures get a little funky.
Yeah, they really
It's not
just
one of those-
went wild on that album.
Yeah. And it's not one of those like, oh, this is like the most technical playing ever. But it's also not like ACD. Like, I don't want to dog on AC/DC now, but it's not like AC/DC is very accessible for most musicians. It kind of, and Justice for All kind of sits in the middle for me of like, it's just complicated enough to be interesting, but not too complicated that it's not accessible for most people who want to sit down and learn some of those songs. And it's a very rhythm driven record. Like there's some shred on there for sure, but like, I mean, and Justice for All is 7 fucking minutes and the solo is maybe 30 seconds of that. Like, you know, so.
Great example. Even Blackened,
Yes.
that has a much longer. Yeah. But even that solo section, it's a much longer solo section, but James
true.
beneath the solo is going fucking wild.
Yes.
So-
Yes. I think if you can find, you know, I'm sure they've got it on YouTube or fucking wherever, like isolated rhythm tracks of whatever song, like go check them out. They're tight as fuck. They're really cool. I think the rhythms under any solo in any of Metallica's entire discography, the rhythms underneath the solo make the solo what it is, not the playing, not the shredding itself.
Yep.
100%.
Agreed.
And I'll die on that hill.
I'm with you, brother. I'm on that hill with you. One exercise everyone should do.
Ooh, can I have 2?
Yes.
Down picking. I thought that I was pretty strong with my down picking, and then you and I did some stuff together, and I learned that I am nowhere close to where I thought I was. So work on your down picking. Fucking critical, especially if you're a musician that tracks, you do recording. Down picking all your songs as much as you can gives you that consistency. Also, alternate picking. It can help tighten up your gallops. Any of these 2-string, 3-string riff shapes that you're playing. Alternate picking and down picking. Tell you what, generalize it. Get your picking technique down. I don't care how many scales you know. I don't care how fast you are. Your picking technique's really tight.
Yep. I want to throw a reminder just because we're a few episodes in now, and I like to kind of cross things over when a point has been made. But the very first episode with Donnie from Cradle of Filth, who is a fucking insane shredder, everything, he brought up this same point where he was talking about lead playing and the importance of understanding your patterns, your pick hand, because if you can't do any of that, then the lead, it don't matter. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the point Nick just made. So I wanted to kind of cross that over of like, that's two people now stressing the importance of, you want to get to the point of even shredding or soloing, picking patterns. It's the rhythm's still important. There's still rhythm in the leads. Like rhythm is everything.
Yes.
Rhythm is, rhythm is all. But it's all there. It's all important. So I just wanted to shout that out. Shout out Donnie.
Yeah.
Because that's two.
If you don't believe me, believe Donnie. That guy knows what the fuck he's doing.
Okay, and finally, I always like to ask this question: is just what is some great advice you would give to new guitarists wanting to get into rhythm guitar? Honestly, just guitar, metal guitar. Man, if there happens to be a kid who likes country listening to this for some reason, what's up, dude? Just what advice would you give?
Practice to a metronome.
Fair enough.
If there is nothing else that you, obviously the unspoken piece of that is practice. Mm-hmm. No one's going to get anywhere without actually putting in the time with anything ever. That's the case. But when you're practicing, like, it's fun to jam along to songs and whatever. But if you are a musician of any age, but mostly kids, and you're just learning, you're just starting, learn to practice to a click or a metronome or some sort of beat keeping device, because it helps train your brain to lock in. And especially with rhythms, you want to be tight, you want to be consistent. Having some sort of, like I said, beat keeping situation, click, metronome. Everyone's got a smartphone or whatever these days. They got free apps. Put one on your phone. If you're sitting, you don't even need an amplifier. Unplugged, it could be acoustic, it could be electric, whatever. Practice to a metronome. Doesn't have to be the entire time you practice. At some point in your practice to it. I start and end with click practice, just to warm up and then to cool off again, just depending on what I've been working on. Metronome, metronome, metronome. All the way up. It will make you tighter with yourself. It will make you tight with other musicians. It will make you seem like you're way more professional than a lot of us actually are on the inside, just because you can keep time really well. And it just makes things easier to learn in general because you're not flubbing over like, oh, I'm trying to play this, but I keep getting off time. Like, practice to a metronome. That's it.
Love it. All right, Nick, thank you so much, man. I had a great conversation with you, man. It was really cool to get to dig into your brain for a little bit. So before we get you out of here, thank you. Before we get you out of here, I know we talked about your stuff in the beginning, but if you got anything coming up, if you have just any final shout outs you want to do for yourself or your bands, please do it. Let people know where to find you, all that good stuff.
Yeah. The old shout out spread.
Yeah, you know how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Plug your shit, they say. I'm in a band, Celestial Wizard. We make cool, heavy music. I don't really know how to describe it other than, like, you'll like it. Go listen to it. We have tours coming up that aren't announced yet, but they will be. I just can't say anything until they are. So, on that note, follow us on the social medias. That's where we'll be posting these things. That's where we'll be like, oh, come see us on tour. Live music is important. More now than ever. Go see artists that you like. Not just the big ones, but the small ones too. If you have a friend in a band, go see them, even if it's not your favorite kind of music. I think everything is so corporate and commodified or commoditized, whatever that word is, that the last true, you know for sure that it's not going to be AI. Go see live music. Go see your friends. Go see the artists you do enjoy. Come see us on tour when we go. My name's Nick. I'm in a band. Play music. Please. Awesome. Don't AI generate anything. AI is from Mark Ass Busters. If you take anything away from anything I ever say, make real art.
100%.
Period.
100%. All right. Thank you, Nick. Everybody listening, please give the podcast a follow. Share us with your friends if you think they'll enjoy it. Go ahead and join our Discord, Rhythm Dominion. We are building a community of like-minded rhythm guitarists. Also, let us know in the comments what topics you might want us to talk about on a future podcast, and we might discuss it. In the meantime, just thank you for your support. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next episode.